Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Legacy, the podcast where we delve into the stories that shape our lives and the lessons we carry forward. I'm your host, Cedric D. Nelson, and I'm excited to embark on this journey of discovery, growth, and inspiration with you. Each episode will explore the triumphs, challenges, and pivotal moments that define who we are and who we aspire to be. From personal stories to enlightening conversations with guests from all walks of life, we'll uncover the wisdom, insights, and perspectives that illuminate the path to a meaningful existence. Whether you're seeking motivation, guidance, or simply a moment of reflection, Life, Lessons, and Legacy is here to accompany you on your quest for fulfillment and purpose. So sit back, open your mind, and let's embark on this transformative journey together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Life, Lessons, and Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Cedric D. Nelson, and today I'm honored to have the guest, Mr. Sheldon Smith. Mr. Smith, how are you doing?
Not too bad, bro. Not too bad. It's still funny hearing people say my real name, but it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, probably especially funny coming from me saying your whole government issue name.
I
Yes.
know, right? Right. Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah, we do. We'll talk about it, I'm sure. So I want to start off just kind of ask you this question about yourself, kind of let the listeners get to know you. So my first question is what's your background?
I was actually I'm originally from Mississippi. I was
Okay.
born in the country, deep off in the bushes, you know what I'm saying? Little town that ain't on most maps, Carrier, Mississippi. I'm sorry, I'm country. It's actually pronounced Carrier, Mississippi, but it's Mississippi, so Carrier. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I was raised in Jacktown, man. I was raised in Jackson. My
Okay.
mom moved out there when I was like 3 years old. She left my pops and me and my brother and went out there with her, and yeah, that's my stomping ground right there. You know what I'm saying? I've been all over the place, spent some time in the military and all that good stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
Jacktown, man, that's home. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
It's fun. I've never heard, well, the listeners might know, this might not. My wife is from Carrier, Mississippi. So it's
Yeah,
funny. I've never heard it pronounced the correct way because I've always heard Carrier, Mississippi,
yeah, yeah.
Picayune, and all that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's actually how you say that one though. That one's
okay.
right. Picayune.
Picayune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It ain't really no way for us to jack that one up. Carrier got too many E's and R's all right there together.
Yeah.
And with that draw,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
You
All
know,
right. So give me a little bit about your, I guess, education and career background.
educational background, same old to begin with, elementary school, middle school. When I got to high school, I actually went to what they call the International Baccalaureate program, the IB program.
Okay.
It was on 5-point scale, smart kids and shit like that. But
Mhm.
I grew up a little ratchet, you know what I'm saying? Jackson, honestly, it really ain't no good parts of the city, but back then, the north end was pretty decent and the south side was pretty decent. We don't have no east side. And I grew up on the west side where it wasn't pretty decent. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? So,
Gotcha.
it was a shock for me to even, I didn't ask to be in that program. That wasn't even something I knew about. My counselor just looked at my grades and was like, I think you do good over there, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And growing up where I grew up at, it was a lot of, I'm gonna just say it was a rough area. Let me say it like that. I'm not gonna
Gotcha.
dig too deep in that, but the school that actually had the IB program it was on the west side as well, but the west side is kind of split. You know what I'm saying? The west side of Jackson is like the biggest side of town.
Okay.
So if you grow up on the end closest to the south side, like I did, you don't fool with them dudes that grew up on the end closest to where I went to high school at. So my first 2 years of high school were very tumultuous. You know what I'm saying? If I said that word right with my draw, yeah, it was a challenge.
Mhm.
But I did okay. The program was pretty tough. After 2 years over there, though, I realized most people weren't actually graduating with that IB degree, and I felt like we was doing way too much not to get what we wanted out of the whole program. So I left after my sophomore year, went to a regular high school. GPA shot through the roof, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So then I went to college at Mississippi State, go Bulldogs and whatnot, cowbells and all that shit. Oh,
Uh-huh.
excuse me, I mean stuff. But I had way too much fun in college. I'm gonna say it like that. And I think what really messed me up was my freshman year. When I first got up there, everybody's like, "Oh, it's different. This ain't like high school." I was honestly like not to toot my own heart, but I was always a really smart kid. Like I
Mhm.
go to class, I listen in class, and then I'm done. Like I don't need to do homework. I'll do it if they're gonna grade it, but I don't study. I don't read the book later. I don't do none of that. I just show back up in class, and if you said it, then I know it. You know what I'm saying? I heard you when you was talking. So when I got to college, they kept telling me it wasn't gonna be like that. It was absolutely like that. It was the exact same thing. You know, I show up to class with a hangover. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been hanging out all night and whatnot on a Tuesday. You know, and I was still making A's and B's. So everything was a breeze. You know, I was like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then, yeah, sophomore year kicked me right in my behind. So, you know, I had to take a break, sat out for a semester. And honestly, I got in the National Guard when I was in high school, 11th grade. You know what I'm saying? Did basic training after 11th grade. And after I'm sorry, no, I got in 12th grade. So I did basic training right after I graduated. Then I went to Mississippi State, did AIT the summer after my first semester, then came back up there. So when 9/11 happened while we was in college, you know what I'm saying, I got deployed to Afghanistan. So, you know, had to go handle that. It was a whole thing, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be like, I don't want to go. And I didn't. I did not want to go. It was freaking out there. I ain't signed up for that. I typed stuff. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't one of them crazy, or excuse me, I ain't gonna say it like that, but I wasn't one of those guys that felt like they needed to get in the army and, you know, prove their manhood by shooting everything. And I want to be on all the secret missions and not, nah, them people don't live long. I ain't want to do that. Mention I'm from the hood. If I wanted to get shot at all the time, I could have just moved back to the west side. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need to join the army for that. So, you know, I know I'm kind of long-winded, but
Oh, you
yeah,
good.
man. So, you know, I did that, and after I got back from overseas, I worked for a little bit. I managed. I grind. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been working since I was like 12, 13 years old. Like washing cars, washing people dogs, cutting people grass, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then when I was 14, I worked at the Waffle House. You know, I still wasn't old enough to work, but I was working at the Waffle House. You know what I'm saying? I always like to be able to have my own. So that's why I got in the guard to make sure, you know, even as soon as I graduated, I had something that was mine. You know what I'm saying? I always been like that. So after I came back and worked for a little while, managed Blockbuster and Burger King, ended up going active duty. So yeah, I went active duty Army. I was about 6.5, 7 years, something like that. As soon as I went active duty, got real sweet job. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them jobs that people in the Army, you tell them you work there and they be like, how you work there? You know what I mean? It was pretty cool. It's like anytime you go to a new duty station, when you first get there, they don't send you to your actual unit. They send you to a unit that in process you to the base. So you go get, you know, you go get all your paperwork done, make sure your ID card on file so you can go to the cafeteria and eat, you know, make sure your pay and stuff is showing where you at now and all that good stuff. And then they assign you to your real unit and then we send you over there. I worked at that place. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I came in and I got there, you know, I was there and they did me. And then when it came time for everybody to leave, they were like, all right, if I call your name, step out. And they called my name and they were like, yeah, you ain't going nowhere. You're gonna stay. I was, you know, but it was a super sweet gig, man. Half the time I didn't even get up in the morning. I wouldn't even show up at work till noon. You know what I'm saying? Because we worked in teams. So like on Mondays, I don't show up till noon. On Tuesday, my partner don't show up till noon. You know what I'm saying? On Wednesday, me again. You know, we just go back and forth like that. It was pretty cool, man. I did that for a while and I had to get on up out of there. Not to mention now, throughout all of this, I totally didn't even mention the fact that I also been rapping since I was like elementary school. I actually, man, it's a funny story that I really don't tell often, but I was in probably third or fourth grade, something like that. And my mom came home one day. My mom worked nights, you know what I'm saying? So me and my brother be at home all day by ourselves. Got a brother in a wheelchair, real cool dude, but you know, he was born with cerebral palsy. But yeah, my mom came home one day, man, and was like, yeah, so I had a talk with your teacher today, and basically, long story short, you know, I'm gonna take you to see this doctor or whatever. And I'm like, for what? You know what I mean? And she's like, well, the teacher just said that it seemed like you was having some issues. And then my mom kind of looked at me and she was like, okay, the lady said you was in class talking to yourself. Like you just be in the back of class just talking to yourself. You know, it was like, Jesus, okay. But like I said, I always been a real smart kid. So like even in elementary school, man, when they give out work to do, I'm the first one finished. I'm in the back of class bored.
Right.
Usually I just start bothering other people so they'll talk to me so I have something to do. But I
Right.
be trying not to do that. So like I be back there writing raps. But I grew up in the hood. I can't really write down what I be saying. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Even in elementary school, I knew better than to write down what I was thinking in my head.
Right.
So I wrote songs without paper in
Okay.
elementary. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time. Don't get me wrong. Now I wasn't like just busting out a whole 16 in the
Right.
middle of class, but I think of something and I just kind of sit there and go over it in my head, and I say the same line over and over again until something else come to me. And then I
Okay.
say both of them lines, and if I don't like it, I try to change it. If I like it, just keep doing that over and over again until I got a 16. But yeah, man, they thought I was tripping, man. They thought I was back there just talking and answering myself. So it took me to a child psychologist, and I was sitting there and talked to him for a while or whatever. And the guy was like, he talked to my mom and was like, yeah, I ain't nothing wrong with this kid. He pretty smart. So they ended up giving me an IQ test while I was there.
Okay.
Um, dude gave me the IQ test, man. My mama wouldn't even tell me the results. She was like,
Really?
I don't want you to get the big head, you know what I'm saying? Yada, 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 and be thinking you all that and you smart and this, that, and the third. So probably when I was middle school, maybe seventh, eighth grade, my mama told me that my IQ test said that I was borderline genius. I was
Really?
like a few points below a genius IQ. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so it was crazy. And I'm like, and y'all thought I was crazy. Y'all thought I was nuts.
About to lock you up.
Right, right, right. They try to put me in a padded room or something. Like
Right.
I was like, I'm not trying to be wearing no helmet to school, mama. Like, I'm good, I'm telling you.
Especially
So
when you're the smartest kid in the school. It's like,
at least in this classroom, like Jesus, I said borderline genius. I ain't say genius.
right.
I'm sure some geniuses out there that's really kicking my behind, but yeah, I was like, come on now, don't do me like that. So, man, I started, just trying to write raps and whatnot. And
Hmm.
because of where I grew up at, I'm not the only one. And most of my family is in Carolina, so we didn't really have a whole lot of family in Jackson when we moved down there. My
Okay.
mom and two of her cousins moved to Jackson at the same time. So I had both of them had one kid each. So I
Okay.
had two cousins in Jackson and me and my brother in the wheelchair, and we did not live near each other for a while. So, we saw each other when we could, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like a regular. I wasn't over there every day or nothing like that. So I ended up hanging out with a lot of the older cats in the neighborhood, because my brother's older than me and he's bigger than me. So I
Hmm.
needed friends that were bigger than me to help me lift this big dude so
right.
I could actually go do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So most of my friends was a few years older than me and stuff like that. And one of my best friends, dude named Terrell, he had like four brothers, and they all rap, and introduced me to this other dude that rap. And next thing I know, all the kids that was my age, they told them they couldn't rap with the older kids no more because they was all whack. But they let me stay. So it's me, like, I'm like 13 years old. It's me. Actually, at that point, I wasn't even that old. I was probably about 10 when we first started. So, the other two guys that's close to my age, they're like 17. The next guy's like 20, 23. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
yeah, man. And we started getting it in, man. It was 94. I had tapes in stores, CDs wasn't a thing yet.
No, not
My
yet.
stuff was,
yeah.
yeah, my stuff was in Music Land and what was the other one called? It was Music Land and Camelot back then. Then it changed to Sam Goody and FYE. But yeah, I had tapes in stores in the early 90s. I was crunching them out the book bag at school, you know what I'm saying? $5 a tape, getting it in, man. And to this day, I still kind of do that.
Well, I remember even in state, you were, I mean, that's what you did. You were rapping, and you
Yeah.
also something else we talk about in our group. You were the chef. It's like we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
man.
we get the ingredients, and it's like just give it to Sheldon. We're gonna make some magic happen.
Hey, you know it. You know it. I even pull that every now and then because, like I say, I'm from South Mississippi originally. So, we eat like we from New Orleans.
right.
So I'll pull out my little electric skillet and I'll be doing jambalaya and dirty rice and
Yeah.
I fry some fish in that joint all in the dorm room, like
Yep. Hot
with it,
grease. Yeah.
Say, hey, brother gotta eat.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And I remember the rapping thing. I remember when I first met you, it's one of the things you're like, hey, check this out. Because like you say,
Yeah,
CDs wasn't around back then. So
yeah,
you had a cassette tape, side A and
yeah.
side B. But
Right.
everything was banging though. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
man.
you got some
Yeah, it was
talent.
a
You know what
couple
I'm saying?
guys up at Mississippi State. Matter of fact, it was a cat from Alabama. He used to go home all the time and record. He had put some stuff out. I drove out to Alabama with him one night while we was at Mississippi State. We left like
Really?
8 o'clock that night, got to the studio at like midnight. You know what I'm saying? I dropped. Hey, bro, look, it's gonna sound like I'm lying too. I dropped my verse right, and I went first.
Yeah.
And the dude looked at old boy that brought me out there. He said, "Man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. That nigga wouldn't have got on my song going harder than me. I'd either took him off or rewrote my verse. I don't know what you want to do." I was like, no, I'm just saying, I'm the feature king. You know, that rap thing really is in me, man. That's like my passion right there. I'll probably never let that go, man. Like I say, even after, after college, I went active duty, and I gave it up for the time that I was active duty. I really
Mm-hmm.
didn't do nothing. Just, it's a whole thing trying to do that and deal with them people, especially the way I rap. I'm like a cross between Pimp C, Scarface, and Tupac. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, it's I didn't want to deal with that. But once I realized I was going to get out the army, probably about a year before I got out, I jumped right back in. One
Mm-hmm.
of my partners I met down in Florida, that was my last duty station. I was on an Air Force base. And I met this cat down there, man, had a studio at the crib. He's a real cool dude, man. He's still like one of my best friends to this day.
Okay.
He ain't up there with y'all, but he like right below
He
y'all.
close.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. He close. He real close. But man, that cat had 6 kids, man. 6 of them. I was like, gee,
He's
uh
stressed out.
we had just had Trinity. My
Yeah.
daughter was like 2 years old. And but my wife
Ooh.
wasn't even pregnant with my son yet. 6 kids by 2 different women, and all the kids live with him.
He's stressed out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then him like my mom, one of his kids in a wheelchair, so that didn't
Gotcha.
help at all.
Right.
And so, but man, just a real solid dude, man. So I started
Yeah.
using the studio over there, and the more we dealt with each other, we kind of got real cool, and I ain't even pay for studio time no more. So I ended up recording my whole mixtape over there. It's like 30 tracks. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's still a free download on Reverb Nation. So that was pretty cool. And then went back home to Jackson, man, and started doing shows. And really, once I got out the military, I really kind of dug back up in there, man. I was
Mm-hmm.
making some waves for a few years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Up until about 3 years ago. Yeah, I was doing shows every weekend. Had the me and my wife got the entertainment company, so SKS Entertainment. We was
Okay.
managing the Alamo Theater in Jackson. It's
I remember
on the
that.
Mississippi Blues Trail, historical landmark. Man, I had some of everybody down there. K. Michelle, Bobby Rush. I had some plays down there. They did the Rocky Horror Picture Show at my theater.
Okay.
Little dance group came and did the Dancer and the Frog. Dick Gregory did one of his last shows at my theater right before he died. He only did
Okay.
one more show after he did my theater, and then he passed away. Yeah, man, it was lit. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It was right in my wheelhouse. But on the business side, because I was managing the theater, but I was at the same time I'm rubbing elbows with other artists, other
Yeah.
promoters. So we had started promoting shows. I was trying to get into doing the comedy shows right before I moved, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. But life be life, and
Life be life. And
both of my kids got sickle cell, and my son had just been going through it, man.
mm-hmm.
He had to get a bone marrow transplant, so I ended up donating bone marrow like a few days before my birthday back in, I want to say, 2015,
Okay.
and that is hell. Oh my God, you talk about some pain, man. That
Yeah.
hurt. But I mean, it wasn't even no question. It was like, well,
Right.
you a match. I was like, well, let's get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it was killing me, man. The doctors kept on trying to explain the whole process of what I'm going through. I was like, man, if
Right.
you don't shut up talking to me, I don't want to hear none of that.
Right.
Every time y'all start talking, I don't want to do it no more. But I'm
Right.
gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So why don't y'all just shut up? Like, I don't care.
Right.
Unless there's a 90% chance I'm gonna die, I don't really
Right.
care. Like,
Right.
let's just get it,
This is gonna happen.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, it ain't no point in us discussing it. I don't need to know the logistics. Y'all done did this before. Y'all ain't killed nobody. All right, look, I'm
I'm
good. Let's go.
good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So since all that was going on, man, and I had got to the point like I did a song with Fiend from No Limit. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I had just kind of, I don't want to say met them, but
Mm-hmm.
I had started conversing with the Ghetto Twins from
Okay.
from back in the '90s,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them married DJ Precise. He owned Big Boy Records, so he put out like Mystical, Juvenile used to be on his label, Black
Mm-hmm.
Menace Clan. All them rappers back in the 90s, like they
Yeah.
originally probably came. If they from the NOLA, they probably came out on Big Boy because that was popping before Cash Money was a thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So me and him got pretty cool. So he started doing beats for me. So I got like my last 2 or 3 tracks came from him. I got a song called Bad Girl and Twerk for a Boss. It's on
Okay.
Amazon, Google Play, all that good stuff. He did those. I mean, threw me a sweetheart deal on the beats, threw
Mm-hmm.
me a sweet deal on the mixing and mastering. Like he's just a real solid dude. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I was starting to make a little waves. Had got a little Jack's Hip Hop Award show going with well, I didn't get it going. Some other guys got it going, but they did it at my theater.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of was it was a good turnout for a
Okay.
show, but oh my God, them people did not know how to put a show together. So, but what they ended up doing was getting other people interested in doing that. So I had some other guys call me, hey, we want to do a award show too. Oh dang, bro, pause it. So I really felt like I had stuff popping, man. I was moving in the right direction, and it was so much going on, man. And honestly, like until that pop off, it really ain't no money to be made in Mississippi, man. Like
Nah.
I was working, but it didn't pay me enough. And my
Mm-hmm.
wife working, we doing our little side thing with the company, but like I say, it wasn't enough. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I ain't see no, if the rap didn't pop, I didn't see nothing else that was gonna jump. So
Right.
man, I've been trying to get back in that government system on the civilian side since I got out
Mm-hmm.
of the military. So when I first got out, I worked as a contractor for about a year. But then I left and went back to school, finished my degree at Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay.
love HBCU, all that good stuff. So, I finished my degree up there. So, I was really trying to make a move back into the federal sector to try to make me some money, in the meantime while I'm working on this music, man, and
Mm-hmm.
got a call back for a job in DC. I was like, yeah, man, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? And then I said about a week before I was leaving, I'd already quit my job. I had packed up and I was supposed to report to DC in a week. And I got a call for a job in Seattle. And I was like, ooh, on second thought, I'm gonna take that one.
It's your second thought.
Yeah, I ain't want to go to DC, man. It's too cold. I don't do well with the cold. It ain't warm up here, but
Right.
it's way colder in DC.
Right. It's not DC code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, man, I came out here to the Washington area. I came out to Seattle, and
Okay.
I was out here a year, man. Working at that job. Got a little raise a year later. It wasn't much of a raise, but it was a little
Mm-hmm.
raise. And I started working me a little night job. I was like, let me just find me something easy I can do.
Right.
It's money to be made out here. So my little night job started at like $14 an hour. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's something because I'm from Mississippi and I ain't know no better. And
Right.
then I kept looking around and I realized, yeah, I'm gonna have to quit my little night job at the grocery store because Wendy's is paying $18, $19 an hour. And I was
Right.
so, and I got fast food experience. So
Mm-hmm.
switched up my night jobs and yeah, ended up, I say it wasn't probably 5 or 6 months after I've been here a year. So 18 months in, I bought a
Mm-hmm.
house in Tacoma.
That's what's
Um,
up.
yeah, man. And after I bought my house in Tacoma, which was like, an hour drive from where I work at, I
Mm-hmm.
got a job in Tacoma. Like the
Guys,
next
hey,
month. I was
God's
like,
grace.
man. So at this point, I'm like, all right, the Lord clearly want me to manifest this. You know what I'm saying? Put them positive vibes out into the universe. Go
Mm-hmm.
for what you want and just act like you already know it's coming and see what happens.
That's it.
So I've been trying to rock like that ever since, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out here, what year is this? 2024. I've
Mm-hmm.
been out here almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in November. I'm on my fourth job, and I get promoted every time I change jobs. So I like it, but I'm also at the point now that I feel like I make enough money that I can go ahead and get back into my music. So I was in the studio the other night. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I just pulled out my computer, got some beats downloaded. I'm about to start writing, and I found me a couple studios. So yeah, man, I'm about to go and jump back on that. I'm finna go ahead and publish some of my old music that didn't get published, and I got a couple new songs that ain't dropped yet. I'm gonna go and drop those, and I'm gonna
Okay.
go from there, man. See if I can make something shake.
Yeah, you can do it. We've talked about it before. I've been knowing you forever, and you're very extremely talented. I tell people all the time, like the talent is not an issue. Like you're extremely
Yeah.
talented. Once the listeners kind of check you on Reverb Nation and your other sites, they'll see what I'm talking about. Like you're extremely talented. Great flow. It's like kind of like what we grew up on. It's
Yeah.
the it's not the it's the stuff that you want to hear. It's like like it moves you, like it
Yeah.
evokes emotions, as they say.
Right, right. That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
I
I
look
appreciate
forward
it.
to it. It's fun. And like we'll go on to this question, but what's funny is like I told you, I let my kids, well, your little cousins hear it, and CJ's run around downloading your music. It's time to work out. He's like, oh, let me download Double S. You know what I'm saying? So,
All right. That's
yeah.
what's up.
So
Yeah.
yeah, just good stuff, man. I look forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
And of course, we at the end of the show we'll talk about it more. But yeah, man, I look forward to it. Before we get to the next question though, where all can they find your music?
Oh man, so my mixtape is a free download. It's on Reverb Nation slash reverbnation.com/double S. Spelled double without the O, and it's two S's.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just go to reverbnation.com and just search double S and you'll find it. 31 tracks, all of them free. Download and let them ride. You know what I'm saying? Also, I got my last two songs that dropped. They're everywhere. If you Google Double S Bad Girl or Double S Twerk for a Boss, they
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Google Play, Rhapsody, some sites overseas where they charging €20. I'm assuming ain't nobody gonna buy that. That's real expensive for one song, but they are freaking everywhere. You can pull them up when you know how you add your music on Instagram. I'm
Yeah.
on there, Twitter, all
Okay.
that. So yeah, and then obviously YouTube. I got probably about 13 somewhere between 13 and 20 videos on YouTube, a couple radio interviews where they interviewed me on 97.7 in Jacktown. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's the radio station that people actually listen to. You know what I mean? If you want to know what's happening in the
Right.
city or you know what I'm saying, something like that, then yeah,
Okay.
that's the one you turn on. So did a couple interviews on there. The video to those interviews is on YouTube. So
Okay.
most of my stuff is in those places.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
the new stuff I'm getting ready to drop, I'm gonna make sure I publish everything so it'll be everywhere. When I drop stuff for free, it'll probably be on Reverb or Spotify.
Yeah. When you do, like I said, let me know. Of course, I plug it and promote, push it out, of course.
Oh yeah.
So all right. So what are your upcoming goals, both personally and professionally?
Oh man. Personally, that's the easy one. Trying to get these kids graduated and up out my house. You feel me? I want my crib back, you know. But I
I
mean,
get
real talk though, man, if we do our jobs as parents, like your kid's supposed to get the hell out. They they gotta go.
yeah.
Like
Gotta leave the
birds,
nest.
all birds have to fly, man. You gotta leave the nest at some point. I ain't
Yeah.
trying to make them leave at 14 or nothing like that, nothing
Right.
crazy, but
Right.
graduate, man, and move on to bigger and better things. I graduated high school at 17, and 3 days after graduation, I was out. I
Yeah.
went to
Gotcha.
basic training, and when I came back from that, I went to college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't never had no desire to just be at my mama house 20, 30 years old,
Right.
like a leech, man. Like, she didn't raise me like that, and I wanted to get
Mm-hmm.
out and prove I can handle it. So
Yeah.
that's what I want for them personally.
Okay.
That's all I'm really looking at. I'm like, I'm already married, so it ain't like I'm looking for a woman or something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
yeah, man, I just want them to be, be well adjusted and intelligent enough to get up out my house and go
Right.
on to be productive human beings in this world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's it personally. Now
Yeah.
professionally, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to do everything. You know what I'm saying? I believe
Uh-huh.
in putting a lot of irons in the fire because y'all never know which one gonna burn.
Yep.
So I'm actually I'm looking. I ain't really started physically trying yet, but I'm looking into making a major investment in something. I was
Okay.
looking at I found a little apartment complex, like 12 units with a store. It's all flat, no upstairs or nothing like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but down payment was a little out of the price range of where I was trying to start at. It was
Right.
somewhere around 200. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to start somewhere around 50.
Right. Right. Like,
75,
yeah.
like, so that was a bit much. But I'm thinking about just going back to what I know, man. Do something
Mhm.
easy, make some money, and then branch off from there. So,
Right.
which would be promoting shows. Out here, comedy shows is real big, so that's probably a thing that I could get in. But it's a
Okay.
lot of comedy clubs out here, so it's a lot of
Hmm.
people already in that space. But I don't see a lot of hip hop shows or even R&B shows. So
Okay.
Probably have to just switch to the music side exclusively.
Yeah.
Um, and just do that. Once I find me a venue that I know I can get, that's gonna hold some people, so I
Mm-hmm.
can make sure I make something off the door. Um, then I'm gonna probably make that move and pull out this little money I got put to the side and go ahead and
Yeah.
bust something out on that end. But also on the flip side of that too, like I said, multiple things. So I'm definitely back on this music, man. I'm trying to lean in there real hard. Studio I'm going to now, man, the dude that's the engineer, the guy who do my recording, mix and mastering, he make beats and all of that. He's also a singer and
Okay.
he got a gold record already. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't
Okay.
like he don't know what he doing.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm trying to network, man, and just lean back into that, man, and get back on what I really want to do. Because I was always like, my degree is in small business ownership and entrepreneurship. I ain't never
Okay.
really wanted to work for nobody else. I
Me
always
neither.
wanted to do my own thing, but I ain't never been scared to work neither. I need that
Right.
money, so
Right.
I work for whoever doing pretty much whatever, depending on what y'all pay.
And you
You know
gotta
what I'm
pay me. And you
saying?
gotta pay me. And you gotta pay
Right,
me.
right.
Yeah.
Right. I was talking about getting another night job the other day, and uh, I walked past the jewelry store in Fred Meyer, and they were hiring. It's like Kroger's up here.
Yeah.
Um, so I asked him, what the pay like, and he was like, we pay up to 14.50. I was like, nah, I can't do that. I said, dude, I don't get out my bed for less than 15.50.
Right.
That's
Right.
30,000 right there. I don't get out my bed for less than that.
Right.
I'm like, nah, I can just start cutting people grass and make that. I was like, nah, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
In my
So,
leisure at that.
right,
Yeah.
right. But when you get in a better space, you get to be a little more picky about that kind of stuff too. Like, because I
That's
know it
it.
sounds bougie when you say that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, man, I done did a lot, man. I done did some serious work. And like I was in the army and I didn't just get out and I didn't retire either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
got medically retired.
Right.
So I was basically too broken to keep going. So
Right.
I definitely ain't trying to be working hard for nobody. I did that already. I'm already getting disability. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I'm
Right.
straight.
Right.
I'm not trying to do that.
Right.
Yeah, man. So yeah, professionally, I think that's where I'm at. I will say though, on the personal side, I think the only other thing that I really wanted was, man, I got an old school Buick LeSabre, and when I moved out
We
here, I
talked
left
about
that
it.
in Mississippi, man, and I
Yeah.
want my baby,
Gotta
man.
go get her, huh?
I gotta go get her. She parked at my mama's house. Like somebody stole my mother's car the other day, probably about 4 or 5 days ago, right from under her car porch, man. It was crazy.
Averages.
And so her car was under the car porch. My brother's van is out there. She's got a pickup truck out there, and then my car was out there. They
Hmm.
stole her whole car. They went in my brother's van and rummaged around, but that's his old van. He don't use it. They planning on taking it to the scrap yard. So it
Right.
wasn't nothing in there. I guess they figured after they looked in there, it wasn't nothing in none of the rest of them cars. So they left. So I was like, oh, they didn't touch my
They didn't
car.
touch my baby, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. She wasn't violated. Like, oh, mama, sorry, they stole your car. Sorry about that. But yeah, they didn't touch mine. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
got way too happy about that for a minute. I thought I was gonna get cussed out.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the old schools. I have one too, man. There's something about it. I don't know, maybe because of the generation we grew up in. Like I want
Yeah.
an old school car. You're always gonna be working on it. There's always gonna be something wrong with it, something to fix. But it's just something about it. It's old school. It's
Yeah,
basic.
man.
It's
Yeah.
it's a man's car. If that makes sense. It's like
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
so. And like, because a lot of times when people say, "Oh, this car, I'm always working on it," when you got something made in the 2000s, man, that is a problem. Them parts is expensive. When you got something made in the 60s, 70s, even the 80s, like
yeah,
those parts ain't that bad. And most of
nah,
that stuff, especially if it's under the hood, it's all right there in your face.
yep.
You usually can see it, unscrew it, and pull it out, and don't
Get
have to
to it
know
and
nothing
everything.
about
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
usually a metal piece. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna put this metal
Right.
piece on for the next 20 years and it should be
Right.
fine,
Right.
as
Right.
opposed to all this
Yeah.
plastic stuff. Hey,
Right.
and I was gonna say, man, it's about the personal stuff as far as, my kids, your cousins, my kids, Sarah's already graduated, and now CJ graduated last year. So same thing, it's one of those things as a parent, you kind of wanna, it's like you want to push them, but at the same time you want to protect them. But but
Hmm.
but it's like you want to know, okay, I did my job well enough that when you go into the community, when you go out into the world, you'll be
You
okay.
are right.
And you're never gonna be okay as long as you're staying here under my protection the whole time. Because
Right. Right.
like us going to college, we had to learn how to eat, how to get from point A to point B, how to
Yeah.
survive, how to navigate dealing
Yeah.
with people that were different
Yeah.
from us. So, you know,
Yeah.
as much as we want to protect our kids, the thing about, like you say,
They,
your personal goal, yeah, they need to get out there. You have to
yeah.
bump your head
Yeah.
some.
And people mess with me all the time, but I'm a big advocate of you gotta give people the opportunity to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta
That's how you
let
learn.
people do stuff and fall on their behind, and bump their head and scrape their knee. You need to
Mm-hmm.
know what you shouldn't be doing. And until
That's
you
it.
bump your head and fall on your behind a couple times, you don't know. You
Yeah.
think you got it.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Best lesson when
So
you
yeah.
when you out there struggling, you like, man, I thought it was easy. My dad was tripping, telling me I can't do this, can't do that, but
Right.
all I had to do every day was clean my room. You know, like
Right, right,
the roof was there,
right.
the lights were
I
there, my
wish
clothes,
I
my
could go
water.
back to that.
Man, I
Like,
told
bro, I
somebody,
got mortgage now. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I'm
it's
like, the
crazy.
breaker went out at my all the lights went out in my house like last week. All the
Yeah.
lights went out. And then like a minute later, all of them came back on except for my bedroom. So I go outside, flip the breaker, it flipped itself back. I'm not renting. I can't
Right.
just call the people and be like, hey man, what's wrong? I don't know.
It's
And
on you.
I'm not an
Right.
electrician. I don't do construction work or none of that. I told you what I do, and ain't
Right.
none of it really manual labor. You know, the most
Right.
I cut grass, I got that. I don't even weed eat. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I was like, but I'm not stupid. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was like, okay, maybe the breaker's bad.
Right.
Because if it ain't the breaker, you know, the actual breaker,
Mm-hmm.
then I need an electrician. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So I was like, that's where I'm gonna start at. So I went out there and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, how do you take this up out of here? It's like,
Without getting
boom. So you
electrocuted.
gotta start reverse engineering. I'm like,
Yep.
and I'm from the old school, man. Like I'm not one of them people that's just stuck in the past, but
Right.
I'm from the old school. Like before I Google something or call somebody and ask them how to do it, I'm gonna look at it and just see if I can figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Common
If I
sense. Yeah.
can't figure it out, then I'm gonna call somebody. If I don't know nobody, then I get on Google and try to do it like that. But I like some real life experience to
Yeah. We're
tell
gonna
me or
troubleshoot.
show me how to do something. I don't know
Yeah.
who this dude is on Google. I don't even know if that really worked for real. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So I don't like that. So I went out there, man, and looked at it, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to take this whole frame off the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Unscrewed all of that and was like, okay, got it. And I done popped the breaker out before.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have all that stuff on the front. So once I got it off, I popped it out. And I was like, okay, I need to give me a smaller screwdriver, unscrew the wires, boom, unscrew the wires, go to pull it out. There's a wire built into the breaker that's going into the thing. Yeah, I ain't never seen one of them. So that was totally new to me. So
Right.
now I'm like, okay, but it's behind all the breakers. So I'm like, but yeah, man, I just kept going, okay, well, if I move
Troubleshooting.
these, blah, 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 blah. Took
Yep.
that John back to the store, got another one just like it and stuck it in there. My neighbor, I had to borrow a screwdriver from him. I ain't had one small enough. He gonna ask me, oh man, well, it don't look burnt up, maybe it's something else. I was like, something else like what? He was like, I don't know. I said, see, me neither. I was like, if it's
Some
something else, I need an electrician. It's gotta
someone put
be
this
this.
back in there. Yeah.
It's right. I was like, if it ain't this, that's the problem. I need it to be this. So I'm finna change this. We're
Uh-huh.
gonna see if it worked. And yeah, man, it worked. So I
Probably
was
saved
like,
yourself a
fucking
couple $1,000.
homeowner, man. Huh?
Yeah, you probably saved yourself a couple $1,000.
I know, right?
Just so they
Because
don't come out
somebody
there and
else
look
would
at
have
it.
swore they had to check the whole house just to figure out that it was the
Yeah.
same breaker that I just changed.
2,500. Easy.
Yeah.
Like what? Just for having the knowledge of what's going on. I'm like you,
Yep.
because I troubleshoot everything. Like
Yeah,
before,
buddy.
Tim be like, baby, just call somebody. Let me try this first.
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna save some money because these jokes they're gonna bust my head when they come out here. They're
You
gonna,
know it.
charge me an arm and a leg. So
Yeah.
because they say knowledge is power and they know
Yeah,
that I
man.
don't know. Nah,
Exactly.
nah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And your professional
Yeah.
goals, your professional goals you were talking about. I like that too. Because I think that's the other thing with our kids getting older. My kids are older now, your kids getting older. We finally get to the age where we can kind of start focusing on our dreams and our careers, what
Right.
we want to
Right.
do. We still
Yeah.
gonna be there for them, but now it's finally like, okay, I've done my part. Now
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
now I can focus
Yeah.
on what means
What,
something to me. Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah. What's gonna make me happy over my last 60 or 70 summers I got left.
right. And I be
Which
counting
I'm
them now.
thinking I feel like I got at least 60 more summers.
You and I both. I be counting too. I'm down one. I'm trying to count those songs. So yeah, I'm
Oh
with you.
man. I'm
All
so
right.
bad though, because I be talking about people sometimes. Like I was talking about this was a while back before my granddad had passed. I was like, we were getting ready to go down to the country to see him. And
Yeah.
my wife was like, man, you sure you feel like driving all the way down there? I was like, yeah, man, it's all good. I was like, man, you know, granddad ain't got but 3 more summers, man. We gotta go see him, bro. It's like measure people life in summers now. How many more
Right.
summers you got? You
Right.
know? Like
Looking at them. Keep talking crazy. You got 10
yeah.
summers left. You know, it's
Right.
like,
And you're about to be down quick. You keep out,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I got a homeboy
Yeah.
that does it though. He told me all the time, he said, whenever you get frustrated about something, just think, brother, how many summers do you think you have left? So you need to go enjoy your life. I'm like,
Right.
you're
Right.
right.
Be up, yeah. You
Yeah.
start getting down to single digit summers, you're gonna wish you would have did something
Yeah.
when you still had like
Yeah.
20.
Right. And nothing really bothers you at that point. You're like, that broke
Nope.
down. That's fine. It don't matter. I only got 3
Yeah,
summers
I
left.
don't
So
care.
it don't
Yeah.
matter.
When I get old, I plan on living on a cruise ship. I'm gonna sell everything and just go on cruises
You
all
know,
year long.
I never thought about this shit, but that makes sense because you think about it, I don't have to maintain anything. I'm just seeing the world. It's just me. I mean, me and my wife, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why not?
There are people right now. I saw it on so I watch this is gonna sound strange to people who know me, but I watch a lot of news.
Okay.
I don't I don't watch regular news though, because for the same reason that other people don't watch the news. That
Right.
everybody's just lying. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I usually watch like funny news, like John Oliver and
Got you.
Last Week
Yeah.
Tonight with John Oliver and the Daily Show.
Yeah.
But I also watch it's called TYT Network. I don't know if you heard of them or not. It's
The
called the
Young
Young
Turk.
Turks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you know
Yeah.
what
I
I'm
think
talking
somebody,
about.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a paying member and everything. I pay my little $10 a month so I can
Okay.
see everything, get the bonus episodes. I got merch. I got my Justices Could Coming hoodie.
Okay.
I was gonna actually buy his book, and this is real talk. I was gonna buy the book, but this book is called Justice is Coming. They ran out of the autograph copies. So I was like,
Really?
I'm gonna wait to see if they do some more autograph copies because he was physically autographing books, which is
Yeah.
why they only had so many autograph copies.
Right.
Well, they didn't ever do no more autograph copies. And then I realized that your book had been out for I don't know, 6, 8 months already at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, so I'm not buying anybody's book until I get yours.
It's like
Now
a family
and
book.
I still haven't gotten yours, so
I
that's
got
on
you.
me. I'm gonna do that.
I
But
got you.
I also haven't bought anybody else's book either. So, you know,
I appreciate it.
you got
Yeah.
yeah, man. I think the last book I bought was actually the last time I bought a book, I bought 6 books. I bought Angela Davis' last 3 books, and I
Okay.
bought 2 of Huey Newton's books, and I don't even remember who wrote the other book. I hadn't read that one yet, but it was
Yeah.
a book about the Black Panthers.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the last time I bought books, and that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I buy them all
So
the
I
time. I
need
buy, yeah, I got to do better. I buy a lot of books from Goodwill. To be honest, I go there and I
oh
find
yeah,
something I want. It's like $1.53. I'm like, let me get it. So I get all these self-help books, finance books, motivational
right.
books, and I just go through them and read them 2 at a time. Pretty much, they go on the shelf. Tell the kids, look, they're there for you. Just put them back because they'll just lose them because they don't
Yeah,
mind it.
man.
They pay for.
So like if I'm gonna buy a book for real, it's gonna be something real Black.
Sure.
Usually all I've been reading, I ain't gonna say all I really read, but all I've been reading recently has been like I said, I bought 6 books, so I
Mhm.
haven't finished those yet. I know it's been a while and I probably should have finished them, but I haven't.
Right.
Um,
Life.
and
Yeah.
one of Angela Davis' books, it's like a collection of articles and whatnot.
Okay.
So I've actually started over on that book like 4 times because I'll get like midway through it, and then I'll be like, I don't really remember stuff from the beginning.
Right. What I
And some
read.
of it don't be connected, and some of it do.
Huh?
Yeah, I started over on that one like 2 or 3 times, but I finally finished it. But when I do that too, as far as going to Goodwill and getting books. So this
Hmm.
is real conceited, but when I go to Goodwill and get books, I specifically be looking for books written by Sidney Sheldon.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, that's actually who I was named after. My
Okay.
mom named me after Sidney Sheldon,
Okay.
because obviously he wrote books, but he also wrote TV shows. He wrote a lot of westerns. He wrote the Patty Duke Show. A
Okay.
lot of stuff that was on Nick at Night. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Back
Right.
in the day.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like she hit me with that creative gene just based off of that because
Hmm.
like he's known as in white circles anyway. I don't know. But I mean, I've read a lot of his books, so I do kind of agree. I'm not even gonna front. But he's known as like a master storyteller. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And that's one thing people say about me when I rap, like even when I freestyle. I go from freaking the time I woke up to the time your mama and them went to sleep last night. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
That's on a freestyle. Don't give me a pen and paper, you know.
Uh,
So I do feel like, I mean, not that I think just because she named me that somehow that made it happen, but she clearly foresaw something.
she knew
You know what
something,
I'm
huh?
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, man, I think that's in me. So I done read a lot of his books, and honestly, the first time I read one, it was just because that's who I was named after. But after I read it, man, it was so good. And
Okay.
it wasn't about nothing that I can relate to. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It wasn't relatable for me. It
Mm-hmm.
was, and it was set like in the past. But it was so freaking good, dude.
Okay.
I couldn't put the stupid book down. So then I got another one, and then I got another one. And then when I was in Iraq, they used to send us books.
Yeah.
So I walk past the little table every day looking for Sidney Sheldon books. I got a book over there. It's called Windmills of the Gods. It's a Sidney Sheldon book.
Okay.
Bro, I was reading that book. I'd be supposed to be working. I'd be sitting at my desk like this. My boss would look over there. Bro, when you gonna put that book down? I'd be like, my bad. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be back. I'll be in the
Take your book with
bathroom
you.
still trying to read the book. Yeah, man. Like it was crazy.
Sidney
So
Sheldon. I'm gonna
yeah,
check him out. Sidney Sheldon.
yeah, man. White dude. He was a player too. Married him a little young chick. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get it in, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was pretty cool. But Angela Davis, man, I think that's who really got me right now. I love
Okay.
Huey Newton books though. That brother could write. Yeah, man. I don't know if you know or not, but I'm real heavy off into that whole Panther thing. I'm actually getting ready to join the Black Panthers of Washington
Okay.
here probably next month.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm just, the older I got, the more and more and more I came into my blackness. Now I'm like that TV show on Netflix. I'm black AF. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? I'm like, yeah,
That's all
it's,
right.
yeah, man. I'm even like as far as religion is concerned, man, like I lean harder toward Rasta now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean it's still Christianity, but
Right.
that's I was raised Baptist, and then like I've always struggled with religion. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It because I'm smart. You know,
So you
matter of fact,
question.
I'm gonna tell you something. Just some of the stupidest stuff I ever heard. So a friend of mine went on this tour in Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
This white dude,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a bunch of people out there as groups or whatever, as group tours, and they went on this little. It was basically a trail of where Jesus walked at. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Now this is part of the tour, so you
Right.
know what you're doing.
Right.
Well, clearly not everybody there was understanding what was happening. So this white guy asked the tour guide when it was time for questions. He was like, "I just want to know, like, who brought Christianity to this area? Like, because these people weren't Christian before." She was like, "These people weren't Christian before Jesus showed up and
Right.
was preaching on mountains and dunes of sand and like, what do you mean? Who brought Jesus brought
Right.
Christianity to this area? Like this, that's what we doing here,
No
and it's
clue.
like, yeah, yeah. But Catholics specifically, but Christians in general, especially white Christians, the further and further back you go, the more different groups of Christians did it. But they co-opted the religion, man, and they put their hands on the Bible. They change different words. They leave stuff out. The Gospel of Thomas is not even part of the Bible, but the Gospel of Thomas is only Jesus's words. It's Thomas wrote down everything Jesus said. He didn't
Okay.
write down what Thomas was doing,
Right.
what when Thomas got it popping. All he wrote down was what Jesus told them. And if you read the Bible, you'll see they say Thomas, or no, I'm sorry, his name was Peter. Peter,
Mm-hmm.
who was also known as Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
that's who wrote the Gospel of Thomas. He was one of
Gotcha.
God's closest disciples, or one of Jesus' closest disciples, and he
Okay.
was one of the people that Jesus would speak to even when other people wasn't around. He would pull him to the side and tell him different things. The Catholics left that out the Bible, even though they found that in the same area where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. So it's a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of information that they found in the same area that they put in. But because the Gospel of Thomas says things like, the kingdom of God does not lie in buildings made of wood and stone. The kingdom of
Mm-hmm.
God lies within you. It's within you and all around you. Lift a
Mm-hmm.
stone and I'm there. Split a piece of wood and you will find me. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what's in the Gospel of Thomas. And the Catholic Church ain't really trying to hear that when the Vatican is a city.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's too much monetization of the church. There's too many times the church has been used to justify doing things that God would be appalled by. So I've
Yeah.
always struggled with religion. I went from being Baptist to Church of Christ
Mm-hmm.
to I don't even know to now I read my Bible. I go to an AME church now,
Okay.
but that's because Rastas don't have churches.
Okay.
It's not how Rasta works.
Mm-hmm.
Rastas hold church the way God asked us to hold church. When two or more gather in my name, you have church.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
Rastas will get together anywhere, smoke some herb, and start discussing God. You know what I'm saying? And like I I can get down with that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Especially because when I open my Bible and I see the places that they were, and I open my history book and I see what the people look like that were originally from those places,
Mm-hmm.
Rasta speaks more to me because they understand that I understand that my Jesus is not a hell's angel. He do not
Right.
have that blonde hair, that blue eyes, that big beard. It don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even what's written. So where did this freaking picture come from? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people whitewashing my Jesus bothers me. It really
Mm-hmm.
does. Like when I go into a building, especially a church, if there's a big white Jesus on the wall, I'll leave. I really will. I don't feel comfortable there.
Okay.
Like white
Right.
Jesus has been enslaving people, killing Native Americans. His body's buried up under stuff in Canada because of white Jesus. Like I'm good. I don't. I'm straight on that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I was talking to someone else about that, and they were kind of talking about the whole, especially the monetization part. The fact
Hmm.
that I'm at a mega church, right? And I'm telling you, you need to donate. You need to, pay tithes. You need to, because well, I'll go back to tithes thing, but you need to put your donations in, your offering and all that. But meanwhile, I don't know how I'm going to eat today or how my
Right.
lights are going to be on. So
Right.
you're telling me that I need to give you my money, but I'm gonna give you my money. It's gonna be 1/100th of what you're bringing in.
Right.
Meanwhile, my family might not eat tonight. And so I
Right.
was speaking to an older lady not too long ago. She wrote in her book, she was talking about tithing, how it's really intended. It's not really intended the way that is, I guess, the way that is preached now.
Hmm.
Because technically, you need to provide for yourself. You need to be
Hmm.
able to eat. So
Right.
Jesus wouldn't want me to give you my last $10.
No, he would
And
not.
do you see what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
don't know. I think I agree with what you're saying as far as with the church. It's so far, a lot of times it's so far removed from what it's supposed to be, because if I'm homeless, technically, I should be able to go to my church. Technically, I should.
Yeah.
I should be able to go to my church, like, look, I'm
Like,
homeless.
and
I need a place to
I was
stay.
just going to speak on that too. Like churches as a enough for me to generalize. I'm not going to say
Mhm.
no church,
Right.
but churches as a whole right now, the majority of them don't do no missionary work. There are
Hmm.
gigantic churches that sit, especially in Jackson. There's a gigantic church that sits right at the edge of the hood. Everybody around this church is poor, but it's
Hmm.
the biggest, prettiest church you'd ever seen in your life. And they
Hmm.
not in the neighborhood. They not feeding the homeless. They not clothing nobody. They not helping with housing. Like if you are not here to help the community, then you are taking from the community. You might as well be
Hmm.
McDonald's.
Right.
I don't need them.
Hmm.
Just being honest, that's another thing that always bothers me is, when black people finally get upset and we start rioting or we start protesting or we burn something down, people always talking crazy. Oh, they burning down they own neighborhoods. They crazy. We don't own none of this stuff. We're not burning down our own nothing because ain't none of this ours.
Right.
I'm like, and the sooner they get that through their head, that as if like that girl said, if we really wanted revenge, they'd have been totally effed. They'd have been
Hmm.
totally effed up
Hmm.
because ain't none of this ours. We don't really have nothing to lose. Not the
Hmm.
vast majority of us. We
Right.
ain't got nothing to lose. But I'm gonna lose my apartment. I don't own the complex.
Right.
That's your apartment. At
Hmm.
most of us, if we got a car, it's so old. That's why it's paid for. If you got
Right.
a new car, you don't own it. You
Hmm.
still paying on that. That's the bank car. I'm
Say, say,
like
miss a
that.
payment. You'll find out it's a bank's car.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
find out quick who car it really is.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't. I think like we as black people, man, we got hoodwinked a long time ago. They found a lot of ways to divide us, to keep us away from a lot of stuff that was real good for us. The Panther Party specifically too. That was
Hmm.
like one of the biggest tricks they ever played on America. Brothers in the South was not getting the real information on what was happening. A lot of folks out east, even out west, wasn't getting the real information on what them brothers was doing. And then they dug in so hard. Excuse me, man, my bad. I got acid reflux.
Me too. We're getting older. Don't worry. I understand. Me
yeah,
too.
man, they dug in so hard that they done convinced Americans that socialism is a bad word. This is already a socialist country. And if you don't believe that, then watch when the next time one of your politicians go to the doctor and see how they don't pull out no money. They don't. They not buying insurance either. They got socialized medicine. Like we have socialism for the people we care about. Everybody else is get it how you live. That's like me. I got socialized medicine. It's the rest of y'all that's screwed. I'm still out here complaining, and I vote progressive to try to get it for everybody. But like, I'm cool. I got it. I was in the army. I don't pay for medication. I don't pay to go to the doctor. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but we should all have that.
We should.
Like, it shouldn't just be for the people that we like the most. It shouldn't just be me, the army and the president and the senators. We all got socialism, but the rest of y'all, every time somebody, offer a social program, is, oh, well, why y'all giving handouts? How's it a handout? The government don't have no job. The government don't make no money. That's ours.
Right.
The only way they make money is to collect taxes. Other than that, there are twos and fews of things they can do because the way they move the oil and all of that. But on the whole, on the grand scheme of things, the way the government make money is taxes. So any social program, whether it's welfare, TANF, food stamps, whatever the case may be, the audacity to call it a handout, it's my money. I paid that money in there.
Right.
You handing me my stuff back.
Yeah. A
percentage,
a small percentage of my stuff back.
Right.
Very
but
small.
On the flip side of that, when you bail out a corporation, they don't never talk about corporate welfare.
Right.
We're doing subsidies for corn and whatnot. Ain't nobody mentioning that. But as soon as you put it in an individual's hand, especially a black one, now that's a welfare queen. They cheating the system. No, the system, the entire point in a government is to make sure that the people are taken care of. Sure, no man need be afraid of another man. Like, if you're not doing that, then we actually don't need you. And I'm black. I'm afraid of everybody in a police uniform. So you're not helping me on the scared part. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like it's just like if my government can't do what a government was designed to do, then why do I need you? But like I said, that's why I vote progressive. Because voting Democrat ain't really got me nowhere yet. I'm like, they promise a lot of stuff and then they don't do nothing. They never deliver.
Yeah.
Joe Biden got up there and talked about legalizing marijuana, free college. Oh, it was at least 37 things that man named. He did 2 things. And I'm being generous with the 2.
Right.
Because both of them things was some bull crap. They did the child tax credit, but not really because they let it lapse. So I don't even count that. They did the freaking the Medicaid being able to negotiate drug prices on 10 drugs out of 50 billion.
10 drugs.
So yeah, 10, literally 10. I'm not even making that number up. It was 10. And the only one that really affected a large number of people was the insulin. The other 9 drugs, the majority of them are for different, more like rare diseases.
But not the majority.
Yeah. But the insulin one, that one was a big deal. I get them that on the insulin. Okay. But you're talking about, like, why is it just on these drugs? That don't make no sense.
You say it's just enough to say I did it?
Like in Canada, they don't do that. In Mexico, they don't do that. America is the only developed country that lets corporations tell them what they gonna do.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
We a whole country. When America buy pharmaceuticals as a country, we buying in stupid bulk. If I bought weed like that, I'd be paying $1 a zip. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but they just pay whatever them people tell them to pay. But that's because we legalize bribery. It ain't because they stupid.
Right.
They do the same thing with oil. When we sell oil in this country, when we pull our oil out the reserves, or not oil out the reserve, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Where oil companies drill in this country, what they do is they have to pay a premium to the country on any oil that come back. So basically, what they pay the U.S. is less than half of what they pay literally everybody else.
And we accept that.
Even like the smallest, most itty bitty, we ain't got no support, no infrastructure countries, they get twice as much as we do when oil companies drill there.
Really?
Because we legalized bribery. You don't have to give the country that much if you just give one pilot. If you give Donald Trump $500,000, he'll let you do whatever you want to do.
Right. Forget
But
the
had
rest
you
of the
went to
nation.
another country where bribery wasn't legal, you'd have been paying that country billions.
Right. So they
But
pay that
we
one person.
legalized bribery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Citizens United and all of that, what that allows you to give unlimited money to politicians, that's legal bribery. Ain't no way
Mhm.
you're gonna give somebody $500 million and they ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Right.
Not unless I'm in office.
Right.
Because I don't have no problem taking people money and then telling them, well, you should have known what I was gonna do when I got here. I don't even know why we playing.
Right.
But I'm comfortable not getting that money no more.
Right.
The rest of them down, they don't act like that. And I'm like, I was telling my wife the other day, man, if they all had some backbone, they'd still get paid.
Oh
But they
yeah.
don't have no backbone. So they know they got to bend over backwards. They got to take it up to you know what for these corporations that pay them. Because if they don't, they'll just pay somebody else. And then that person will do all of that stuff.
Yep.
But if everybody just had a freaking spine to begin with, and no matter what they gave you, you'd be like, well, I hope you knew what I was going to do before you gave me money. That's what I'm still going to do. Like people should be donating to the candidate that they already feel like falls in line with their interests. You shouldn't be donating to candidates and then telling them what to do.
Right.
You know, it's just
and actually know what that candidate is really going to do. Like who they really are, because they'll tell you anything. It's yeah, man. I say about politics. I tell people all the time, I'm not really a Democrat nor a Republican. I think both parties kind of hold hands and talk about what they're going to do.
As far as money is concerned, they absolutely do. As far as anything, any type of policy dealing with money, stock market, whatever, they the exact same people. The only difference is Republicans actively try to kill black people, and Democrats tell you a bunch of good stuff, but they ain't gonna do none of it.
So you see, either way, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying?
Democrats just leave you at zero, though.
Right.
Republicans are actively trying to move you backwards. That's where I draw. That's where it be. Because like honestly, like I said, I like what a lot of us got to remember, man, is the only chance you have to really pick your candidate is in the primary. If you don't vote in the primary, then you don't really have nothing to say. You just need to go ahead, especially if you like us. You in most places. I'm not gonna say everywhere, but enough for me to generalize. You just gotta go and vote Democrat all the way down the ticket. Because them gonna be the only people that don't actively try to kill you. Now they not gonna necessarily help you. I'm gonna go and tell
but they're
you
not
right
trying to
on
kill
that.
you.
But they're not gonna try to kill you. You know what I'm saying? But if you vote in the primaries, then you actually have a chance of getting a progressive candidate elected because progressives run as Democrats. Because if you try to run as a third party, you ain't gonna never win nothing.
Right.
So progressives have to run as Democrats. But it's always known who the progressive Democrat is. It's usually the Democrat that everybody spent the most money hating on. So it got so bad this election, and this is the thing I hate about Democrats. This past election, Democrats was so bad, bro. They were spending money on Republican candidates because they were running against progressive Democrats.
But they also
Now
root
that is
for us.
pathetic.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then when you get, and then when they in Congress or they in Senate and they act and the Democrats actually trying to pass something and now they need 70 votes and they don't have them, you helped a Republican get elected because the Democrat that was running was too for the people for you. Kind of dumb. Like, what kind of stupid stuff is that?
Yeah.
That is just so backwards. They would rather lose than let a progressive get elected. That's why Bernie ain't never been president. Bernie won the primary against Hillary, and the Democrats was like, nah, I know he didn't.
Yeah. And I think Bernie actually would have been for the quote unquote people. Like, because Bernie, like I say, Bernie didn't care what anyone else thought. He was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to be. I'm old anyway. If y'all take me out, it doesn't matter,
Right. And like the Bernie is the only person that you ever really hear talking about money and politics. If you turn on the news right now, you can watch CNN all freaking night, MSNBC, even Fox News, whatever regular news you want to watch. You can turn on the news, watch it all freaking night long. They will never speak on how much money is in politics and what that does. Why is it that this person donated and all of a sudden they passed a law that benefit that corporation? They'll never speak on that. The only time you hear that on TV is TYT or right out of the mouth of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie.
That's like the only time you ever hear it.
Yeah, and he really,
but
like
Bernie
I said, he
is
don't
like
care.
the quintessential progressive Democrat.
Right.
That's why he identified as a socialist Democrat. Because anybody with two freaking marbles rolling around up there understand that no government can really truly work for the people if there's not a certain level of socialism in that government. It just can't. You can't feed the poor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing about homelessness. Like you can't do nothing for people with disabilities that's trying to get apart. Like it's a lot. Everything that nonprofits do, that's basically socialism because they give tax dollars to that nonprofit to go out and do stuff in the community for free. That's socialism. You're not paying
It
for these
is.
services. The government paid for these services, and you
Mm-hmm.
get to use them for free. That's absolutely socialism. I'm like, we got freaking K through 12 education is socialism. You're going to school and you're not paying for it. That's socialism. So why we acting like we ain't already a socialist country? Everything you actually like about this country is socialism. That's why people love Social Security. That's socialism.
Mm-hmm.
People freaking love it when they can get TRICARE through the military or when they run for Congress and they get that free health care where they get to go to Walter Reed like they've been in the army or something like they're a general. They love that. That's freaking
Mm-hmm.
socialism, man. All the good stuff about this country is socialism and we freaking love it. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as we get a president or a Congress or a Senate that start passing some progressive stuff, they'll never be able to get rid of it. We ain't always had Social Security, but as
Mm-hmm.
soon as we got it, it didn't go nowhere, did it? We ain't always had Medicare, and it ain't
Right.
went nowhere yet, has it? But them,
Mm-hmm.
when Obama was in office, them white people hated the ground that brother walked on. And when he was out there talking about the ACA, the Affordable Care Act,
Mm-hmm.
um, they were out there with signs that said, "Keep your government hands off my Medicare."
Right.
Where you think you got that from?
Right. No clue.
That's if I ain't put my hands on it, it'd be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the racism be so strong that they be too stupid to realize that the socialism is what they love.
Right.
Like, but Republicans do that, man. They spend all of their time convincing people to hate that because all they want is capitalism. That's all they want. They want you to pay for everything to include K through 12 education. Like, but the Constitution guarantees me the right to a free and appropriate education. We
Right.
righteously should be suing the government right now because K through 12 is not appropriate. It's free, but it
Right.
ain't an appropriate enough education. I'm like, you didn't stop there. And it wasn't because you just really wanted to go to college.
Right.
Because I just really want to take more classes for 4 more years. Nope. I know I didn't go for that reason.
Right.
I went to college because I already understood that you can't do nothing if you ain't got no college degree. I'm gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
keep working at Burger King forever like I was doing in college.
Right.
Like, I ain't want to do that. I'm like, if 60, 70, 80 years ago, you can get a high school diploma and you could work pretty much anywhere because most jobs was apprenticeships anyway. You
Right.
still had to go work up under somebody. They had to teach you everything anyway. So it's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But that ain't appropriate no more. Like,
No, it's
like
not.
in all honesty, a class action lawsuit by Black America or just America as a whole would be a beautiful thing because we not being treated correctly, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is and we this country get way too much tax money and we spend way too much money on stuff that don't have nothing to do with us. You know what I'm
Oh
saying? Like
yeah.
I ain't gonna get into it, but like all that money we sending to Israel for what? You know what I'm saying? We spend way too much money on foreign aid already anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, as why are we constantly reaching out our checkbook when we still got people sleeping in the streets here? We got people that die because it's cold outside.
That's it.
Like, bruh, who? Like, really? You die? Like, people are dying because it's cold, because it's hot.
Yeah.
That that is nuts, man. It's 2024. Like, we need like you got at some point you got to take care of your house. And even
What?
the same thing, like, I was in the military all them years, 13 years and whatnot, and like we spend too much money on the military. And the money we spend, not enough of it goes to the actual soldiers. The majority of the money we spend on the military is going to private contractors that don't even have nothing to do with our actual military. Like, it's just too much. But see, Republicans, Bush started all that private contractor stuff when they invaded Iraq because him and Cheney owned a bunch of them. They started a bunch of them companies that gave the contracts to themselves, and then they used the defense budget to pay themselves. I'm like, it's all they grifting, man. They've been stealing, grifting and stealing money this like since the inception of this country. It's crazy. That's and if you think about it like this too, like Republicans always talk about they strong on the economy and Democrats are weak on the economy and they more fiscally responsible. There has only been one time in my lifetime where the U.S. had a surplus. And that was when Clinton was president. There has only been one time in my lifetime where a president inherited a surplus, and that was, who was that? Was it Reagan? No, that was before. It was Bush.
Bush came
Bush
after Clinton,
inherited a surplus. GW inherited a surplus. No other president ever inherited a surplus. So that means Bill Clinton left office with a surplus, but he entered office with a deficit, just like every president came before him. But he's the only one that actually was strong enough on the economy that the country was operating in the black. So George Bush comes in, we $260 million up, and he leaves office, and we're $1 trillion down. And we've been down ever since. Democrats move it up some, but they ain't never got it back to zero or in the positive.
Right.
But every Republican in office, I'm gonna tell you like this, every Republican in office lowers or raises the deficit. We getting further and further away from zero. And then to make it so bad, they love to talk about the jobs. They create jobs, and the Democrats be losing jobs and jobs. Bruh, if you do the breakdown, these are real numbers. I'm not even making this up. So you can go check if you want to, but these are real numbers. If you do the breakdown, since the Cold War, the U.S. has created 51 million jobs, right?
Okay.
Now, based on who was in office, the Democrats created 50 million jobs. So, I mean, Republicans created 1 million jobs since the Cold War, my nigga. Ooh, sorry about that. But yeah, since the Cold War, they've created 1 million jobs. The Democrats have created 50 million jobs. They're not
crazy.
strong on the economy. They're doing the same trickle down garbage that Ronald Reagan was doing that didn't work, which is why we was in a deficit when Clinton took office. They cut taxes up here, and through some magic that ain't never presented itself, those people are, because they got so much more money, now they're gonna create jobs and all that's gonna trickle down. Except they don't. You cut their taxes, they hoard more money. They're hoarders. They've been like, billionaires shouldn't even exist. Like, Trump sits up there and talks about make America great again, and I'd be really wanting to ask him, give me a year. Tell me what specific year it was great, so I can see what you're trying to get back to. Because I feel like I know what they're thinking. They want to go back to the 20s when everybody wore suits and tuxedos everywhere, and, you know, big band in the club, and black people was not slaves, but you could still lynch them. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. The problem with that is, like, I'll meet you part way on that. I have no problem meeting you part way on going back to the 20s. Because unlike them, I read. And what I understand that they don't understand is that in the 20s, rich people paid 90% in taxes. 90.
Okay.
Yeah, real number, 90%. That's why you could make groceries with change. Because the government had more money.
Right.
So the value of the dollar is stronger. So you can make groceries with $1.60 back then because the value of the dollar was stronger. If you had $250,000 back then, you was a billionaire.
You know, because something funny about that you said makes sense to me, because it's weird to me that, and we've talked about it, people talk about it before, that basically the poor people in the middle class pay more taxes than billionaires, and it makes no sense if I only make $40,000 to $60,000 a year or less,
right?
And I'm gonna pay more taxes than somebody that's making billions. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it make sense. Oh, they're creating jobs, but again, they're creating jobs and they're getting income from other people, so they should have money to pay into taxes.
Thank you.
You know, as opposed to me, I don't get my check. I get my 60 grand, 50 grand, 40, whatever it is, and that's it. But I'm gonna pay more taxes than makes no sense.
Yep. But see, you got to remember too, as on a whole, generally when people run for office as a Republican, they got dough like that. So that's a thing for them to make sure they keep it. That's why the estate tax was super low, the inheritance tax was super low, so they can keep passing this money that they stole all them years ago. Because behind every great fortune in this country is a great crime, unless you're black, and then it was somebody dancing, rapping, singing, playing basketball or something like that. For the most part, not that we didn't do nothing; it just got stole from us. You know, there are techniques for open heart surgery that this white dude got credit for, that the black dude standing beside him while he was doing the open heart surgery was telling him how to do, because he the one that created it. Like these are real stories of things that happened in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's countless inventions created by black people that white people get credit for, because white people was the ones in charge. Enough said. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like it's oh my God, man, it's a lot. It's
It's
really a
crazy.
lot.
And you know,
Yeah.
both the subjects, and we'll move on to the next question, but both subjects we talked about are those subjects that they get people moving, they get people passionate either way. But a lot of times when people are passionate, unlike you actually got facts. A lot of times people are passionate about religion and about politics. They don't really have the facts. They just go by what they see or somebody tells them, as
Right.
opposed like you talking about actual numbers. And I tell
Mhm.
people all the time, like family members actually fall out over politics. They actually
Mhm.
fall out over religion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, especially with the politics thing, I'm like, you do realize that most of the people that we're dealing with, they're not really trying to help us. Like you say, most of the people are not like Bernie Sanders. They actually like,
Right.
okay, forget me getting rich. Let me try to actually help the people that
Right.
the
Right.
Constitution and government was actually created for.
Right.
So yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
why they call it public service.
right. As
You know what I'm
opposed to
saying?
my personal budget trying to increase my funds, you know, my personal, you
Right.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think, man, we're gonna come back on again and discuss this because, you know, of course we got, you know, we got different friends and in our circle that, you know, all feel very passionate about politics. You
Yeah.
know, I've told y'all before, I had Marco and Mike one time, and they were, you know, both very passionate about politics. I'm not really. I mean, I guess I should, because as I get older, I get it a little bit more, and I'm into it a little
Yeah,
more
man. Because
because I
like one
understand.
thing I always try to remind people is, I feel like the people who are, and this not like a dig on you or
Oh
anything,
no, I
just in
get you.
general,
Yeah.
I feel like the people who are not passionate about politics, but I feel like they either don't understand how it affects their daily life,
Mm-hmm.
or it doesn't affect their daily life.
Right.
So like when you hit a certain income level, it's irrelevant. It don't
Right.
matter who in
Right.
office, you're gonna be all right. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But below that, especially when you
When you're
black,
struggling.
bruh, like I said, sometimes people are trying to get in office and they are actively trying to harm them. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And if you're not passionate about that, then you're not gonna be passionate about nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, these
Right.
people trying to kill us, dude. They like one like this. You do realize slavery was never abolished in this country, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. You know, the
Yeah.
13th Amendment gives you a little caveat.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So with that said, they created the prison to, what is it? The preschool to prison pipeline. Because now prisons run like hotels based on occupancy. Gotta keep
Mm-hmm.
them full. So they got to keep that revolving door revolving, man.
That
Like,
income coming in.
yeah, like it's like people are actively trying. Like when I say they actively trying to kill us, man, I'm speaking literally, not metaphorically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That people like Trump trying to make sure police have qualified immunity. Well, we know what they've been doing with their qualified immunity. They've been shooting us in the face and then getting away with it.
Right.
Like they're actively trying to kill us.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm like, when there's people I know that vote Republican, like, bro, I don't fuck with you no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna work on it.
I get. We'll
But
cut it out.
yeah,
I
like
got you.
I don't if you vote Republican, like seriously, I don't fool with you. I can't. That's actively detrimental to my life and everything I got going on over
Mm-hmm.
here. Like I can't. I'm like, when it's personal, that's
Yeah.
why I take it personally. You know what I'm saying? But when, if I hit the freaking mega millions or something and I got 400 million in the bank, like I don't really care who president. I ain't gonna be here most of the time. No way.
Right.
I'm be on vacation 8 to 12 months out of the year, bro. Like,
And
I don't
if it
care
get
what job I'm
bad,
doing. I'm in Jamaica, dude.
yeah.
I'm
I
in
said if it
Jamaica.
gets bad here, you like, I got enough money to go
Like,
over there. You know.
right. I'm like, I'm gonna be in Jamaica. I hate it somewhere chilling.
Right. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Life, Lessons, and Legacy. I hope you found our discussion thought-provoking and inspiring. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps us to improve and reach more listeners like you. Remember, life is a journey of growth and discovery. In every experience, both the highs and the lows, contributes to the legacy we leave behind. So embrace each moment, cherish the lessons, and live with purpose. Until next time, I'm Cedric D. Nelson. You can find more resources, including my book, Life, Lessons, and Legacy: How to Take Life's Lessons and Shape Your Legacy, available for purchase on my website at www.lifelessonsandlegacy.com, also available on amazon.com. On my website, you'll also discover information about my life coaching services and speaking engagements designed to help you unlock your full potential and live a life full of purpose. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.